misandrists. That means that from her perspective, she has a hatred of or fear of the male gender for some reason. But for the last 60 years, more and more men have become misandrists as well. Simplifying the definition of this word, we can say that the spirit of misandry is a fundamental rejection of the male gender both in oneself and in other men. The cousin of misandry is androphobia, ANDROPHOBIA, which is an abnormal dread or fear of men. It's a repugnance of the male sex or gender, which one can have even toward oneself. It's a despising of the brute nature of men and the domineering nature of patriarchy. It's the rejection of one's own masculinity. Someone said the spirit of misandry in this country is as pervasive as the fluoride in our drinking water. Well, misandry in men is a sure sign that they have been gelded. Well, in the past quarter century, we've protested all kinds of prejudices when it comes to gender and prejudice, like misandry and the misandrist hate speech, that attitudes against men and boys and honorable patriarchy is made each day, almost in every kind of media you can imagine. But when we hear that kind of misandrist propaganda, we call it humor. We laugh at it. We're not bothered by the fact that as men, the joke's on us all the time. However, the biggest problem when it comes to misandry is not what feminists have said, and it's not what society and the media have repeated in the last 60 years, but that men finally have accepted such points of view and believe them about themselves. When that happened, all the fire and all the potency in the masculine gender leaked out of, if you will, the sacks of the men in this country. Now, female chauvinism is an ideology which holds that the female gender is superior to male gender. We've heard of male chauvinism, but there is such a thing as female chauvinism as well. Again, it holds that the female gender is superior to the male gender. And it's the opposite of male chauvinism, if you will. The feminist movement has evolved into a female chauvinist movement, and the United States has become a female chauvinist country. And it's not the only country to do so. Takeo Seo, or Taquan Seo, wrote this: Europe has been destroyed partly because gelded men have streamed insane socialist women into positions of power. I didn't say it. An anonymous writer said, not only do we live in an age and a time where the average male is treated with disrespect in the media, raped in the family court system, and killed at any time by his wife. He can be killed at any time by his wife, who will then falsely accuse her victim of abuse in order to avoid paying for her heinous crime. But we live in a day and age when the average father, who in reality has been gelded by his wife, intentionally teaches and actively encourages his daughters how to both control and destroy their husbands and the father of their children. There's a great book out called Wild at Heart. You probably read it, by John Eldredge. He wrote a section about gelded men. And it's very succinct. He wrote, if you spend any time around horses, you know a stallion can be a major problem. They're strong, very strong, and get downright aggressive, especially if there are mares around. A stallion is hard to tame. If you want a safer, quieter animal, there's an easy solution. You castrate him. A gelding is much more compliant. You can lead him around by the nose. He'll do what he's told without putting up a fuss. There's only one problem. Geldings don't give life. They can't come through for you in the way that a stallion can. A stallion is dangerous, all right, but if you want the life he offers, you have to have the danger he offers as well. They go hand in hand. They go together. A gelding then is a castrated horse or a pussified or neutralized stallion. Why would anybody prefer a castrated horse instead of a stallion? Because stallions are hard to control. They're strong, they're virile, they're willful. They typically don't like to be bridled. They can get downright aggressive. They can be hard to tame. Point is, if you want a safer, quieter, less dangerous and unpredictable horse, there's an easy solution. You castrate him. Gelding a male horse, he continues, allows it to be calmer and better behaved, making the animal quieter, gentler, and potentially more suitable as an everyday working animal that does what it's told. But again, the problem with geldings is that they have lost the ability to give life to a situation, to be aggressive, to be protective, to be obstinate. They've lost the will to initiate. And I'm dealing with men like this all the time. I'm dealing with boys like this all the time. They've been castrated. They've had the will cut out of them. Had the initiative taken from them. It's not right, and we've found a way to heal them of that, make them better men, and to make them better men for women. We actually say that our ministry to men and boys in our church is for women, but toward men. So that's the idea. Men have forgotten how to treat women. They've forgotten how to show respect to them. They've forgotten how to be steel and velvet, to lead courageously and initiate, but at the same time to be a tender warrior, to listen to them, to empathize with them, to try and understand them, to be present, to not try to fix everything. We'll talk more about that as we go along. But I want you to know that men are aggressive, they're competitive, they can get angry, they like violence. They like to fix things, they like to conquer things. They like to stare and think and not talk. Some more, some less. Just like for some women are more like men, some women are less like men, and it depends on the chemistry. But we're dealing with an 80-20 percentile here. Most men are, as opposed to less men are. And we'll be talking more about the concept of velvet and steel. That's the perfect man. A perfect man is a blend of the steel qualities of a sword and the velvet qualities of the sheath. But that's for other conversations. Until I talk to you guys again, this is the Pipepastor. Thanks for putting up with me. Sláinte.